Hey everyone, we're just going to give it another 30 seconds or so to see if anyone else joins. We don't want to miss anyone out. There's a few joining at the moment. Great to see everyone. Happy Friday. Hey Damien, congrats on Platinum, mate. Sally, Rezi, great to have you guys on. As you can see, I'm in my HubSpot t-shirt, so I'm just bringing the orange Kool-Aid to the webinar today. You guys can use the Q&A as well. I think the chat's disabled for webinar, but the Q&A, so feel free to jump in there and say hi and where you're joining from. Cool. Well, we might make a start. Just wanted to, again, welcome everyone to the webinar today. Really exciting time of year for HubSpot. Obviously, Inbound is their big event for the year. And there's always just so many updates and releases and things to talk about at Inbound last year. I was actually there, which was awesome for the first time, just to really get the buzz and see what it's like. And it's just, yeah, it's an unbelievable event to be there in person. This time doing it remotely, watching the live streams and trying to keep on top of all the releases, etc. But just thought for many of you that are using HubSpot or maybe thinking about using HubSpot in the future as your CRM and customer platform, just wanting to get a bit of a recap on, what were some of the big announcements from Inbound, recapping the keynote, and then looking at some of the specific product updates as well. So let's jump straight in, and also feel free to pop any questions in the Q&A. We've got the team answering questions in there as well, so don't be shy. Yep, Sally is on Gold Coast, like me. So what I wanted to just run through quickly is just a bit of an agenda. So yeah, as I mentioned, wanting to really firstly recap the keynote from Yamini, the CEO of HubSpot, and also the product updates, and also Dharmesh gave a little bit of a keynote as well. So there were kind of like three keynotes, Wednesday, 11 p.m. our time. So kind of like our sort of Thursday morning, and then just jumping straight into the product updates and specifically what are the things that we're excited about, content chemistry, what are the things that can help your business, and just to stay, on top of all of the updates that happened. So now, most of you guys know who we are and are customers of ours, which we really appreciate you joining. Others may not be familiar with us. So just super quickly, I want to just take you through. This is our amazing, good-looking team. We're short one person on this photo, Abby, but otherwise we're all here. So we're based in Australia, digital marketing agency, but also HubSpot Platinum partners. We have been since 2017, if my memory serves me correctly. So based in Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sydney, Adelaide at the moment. So yeah, really excited to share some things with you. I guess what we do, we really focus on building a marketing and sales engine, but underpinned by HubSpot. We love it. I'm wearing the t-shirt, you get the vibe. But it is the best platform to build your marketing and sales on, full stop. So that's really our sweet spot and our niche, what we do. Our mission is to help hundreds of SMBs and mid-market businesses to grow better through better marketing. So that's why we exist. We're HubSpot Platinum partners. We're HubSpot onboarding accredited. We're on the Partner Advisory Council for Australia and New Zealand. Only a small amount of partners are actually selected for this. So we've been members of the Partner Advisory Council for the last few years, which is a real privilege for us we actually have monthly catch-ups with HubSpot in Boston. So that's really exciting to be on the curve of what's coming up. Google partners, we've won awards, and these are some of our awesome clients that we work with. So let's recap the keynote that was presented yesterday by Yamini. Damesh, and the team. So I guess the first point that Yamini highlighted was that, in 2024, as we've all probably realized that, the economy has softened. And as a result, this is data from HubSpot that 50% of sales reps are hitting their quota. So this was compared to 66% hitting their quota in 2022. So sales reps have had a difficult year this year. And I'm sure you've experienced that in your business as well. What about AI? We're going to talk about a lot about AI in this webinar, and particularly generative AI and how that impacts marketing. Well, probably the biggest impact is that search has changed, hasn't it? And we're still in the infancy of AI, and the real impact we still don't 100% know. But here's a bit of a timeline of search since 2014. You might remember good old Google searches. You had the blue links. There were no questions answered in search, but they would take you to relevant websites, the blue links, and you would then find the information. In 2016, featured snippets were introduced to Google, which answered some questions right up at the top of the page, which meant that some of that traffic wasn't going back to your website. So that had an impact on organic search traffic. And then the most recent update is in 2024, AI overviews, which again, still infancy, still in beta and testing. But again, what is that doing to search? Well, it's actually taking a lot of those clicks that would normally go to your website. It's taking them and it's answering the question for the user without having to click away from Google. Now, the reality is that Google is an ads business, so they're not going to sacrifice their ads revenue. There's always going to be Google ads there, but the reality is that the impact will probably be on SEO and organic search traffic, that over time, if these AI overviews do tend to really dominate the search results, it's going to push all the organic blue links further down on the page, and that will therefore impact the amount of organic search traffic that we're all getting from Google. A related point that Yamini highlighted is that social platforms are holding onto your customers for longer. And this was a statistic from Gartner. They predict that search volume is set to drop by 25% by 2026. And that's a result of AI overviews, and a lot of users are using ChatGPT or Claude or other tools instead of Google for answering questions and for getting information. So that's something that we're keeping on top of. As we said, it's still very much early days, but something that we're expecting to definitely have an impact on SEO and organic search in the future. This is something that Yamini highlighted. I think we know this, and this is the reason why a tool or a platform like HubSpot is so important, is that our customers know more about us than we know about them. They're researching us, they're reading our content, they're on our social media, they're following us, they're looking at our competitors, they're reading G2 and Gartner. They know everything. So by the time they actually reach out to us, they're very much educated and they're very much down the customer journey. So what we need to do is make sure that when we do have a sales conversation with them, or even a marketing touch point, that it's super personalized, not cookie cutter, not generic, because we need to sort of respect the amount of information that they have. It's really flipped the switch in terms of who has the more power these days. And that's really the reason why HubSpot is such an important platform for businesses, to be able to capture the full history of a lead or a customer or a prospect, all of their interactions, and looking at specific things that might interest them. So then Yamini pivoted to AI. We know that this was going to be a big feature of Inbound this year. It was definitely flagged last year when I was there, but this year it's exploded. So what Yamini was really highlighting is that now that AI is really accelerating what we can do, but in the future, it's likely to be more of a transformational change in the way that we work. So just some examples. On the left-hand side, at the moment, you can see, well, what is AI doing? Well, it's speeding up what's possible. It's automating discrete tasks. It's working with you, and it's happening now. But if we think about the right-hand side, okay, what is AI? What's the potential for AI, particularly as businesses, marketing, sales, customer service? Well, it can make the impossible possible in the future. One of the ways that it can do that is through agents, which we'll talk about in a second. It can reimagine complex goals. It works for you. And that's the next phase or the next evolution of AI. So what about AI for marketing? This was something that Yamini spoke about in her keynote. What are some of the ways that AI can really benefit from a marketing perspective? We've already had a taste of it a little bit, but what are the things that it can continue to do? So again, let's focus on the accelerating first. So for the last 12 months or so, we've been able to use AI to write a blog for you, to personalize an email for you, and also to distribute content. So create, personalize, and distribute. It's been, pretty, an early start so far, but that's been, a really great help. And I know at Content Chemistry, obviously our name, Content Chemistry, is that we've been trialing all this stuff as well and looking at ways that we can make the most of AI, but also retain the quality of our content as well. It's still a bit of a mixed bag at the moment. Now, what about transforming marketing? And this is where the agents really come in. So using the content agent, it can really not just create content, it can prioritize and distribute. What about the social media agent? Well, telling me where, when, and how to share my content, what days, what platforms, what personas. And then the final potential example is a campaign agent, which tells me which campaigns to amplify and where to invest my marketing spend. So this is kind of the future of AI and looking at how these specific agents can really work for us instead of more of a generative AI, which is working with us. These are actually doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So this was a point that Yamini highlighted. AI creates, but people curate. So in other words, AI is great for researching, for pulling things together, for giving you a version 1 draft. But the reality is we still need a human to actually edit, curate, and to improve the quality. And that's where, humans are still going to be involved in content, in marketing for sure. But AI is going to be an amazing agent or assistant for us. What about AI for sales? How is that going to help our sales leaders? Well, again, if we look about the acceleration approach, what AI can do now is tell me more about my prospect, help me qualify and connect with them, giving me some basic information, maybe some personalization, et cetera, and there's some tools that can already do that. Even things like helping us write emails to our prospects that are personalized and things like that. I know Damien does a lot of that on the webinar as well, like we do. But also like following up faster. So summarizing conversations, helping us to seal the deal. So even things like note takers on Zoom or other platforms, we've all been trialing these things where they can summarize a meeting pretty well, dot points, next steps, and that can really accelerate your sales process. But what about transforming sales? Well, this is the next level for AI when it comes to sales. So helping me build pipeline in my territory. This is something I'm going to show you in a second, what that actually looks like. Do you want to add these new leads? Do you want a personal message to send? Do you want me to set up a meeting? So this is where this AI becomes more like an assistant or an agent versus just generating content and things like that for us. So that's the next step for sales. So this is the key takeaway for AI for sales. AI offers context. People offer connection. So again, sales is a human to human relationship. So AI is going to help giving you the relevant data, the intent, the ICP and all of that background information. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be a human to human relationship that will get a deal done. AI can't replace that. Okay, our final point here is AI for customer service or customer success. So when we think about, okay, the last 12 months or so for AI, so what has AI been able to do? It's been able to handle the basic stuff, answer questions. You may have seen chatbots, even HubSpot's been trialing a chatbot on their own website. It answers basic stuff. Sometimes it's frustrating. Sometimes it actually nails the point. So that's been good. And also it can accelerate self-service by powering knowledge bases and things like that. So that's been the last kind of 12 months. Well, what does the next 12 months look like? The transformation. Well, again, we're talking about AI agents. In this case, a support agent. So turning our chatbot, for lack of a better word, into something that's like really super powered. It's got data on you, it's personalized, it's 24/7, it's contextual, all of these things. It isn't just like a basic chatbot. And also the knowledge base agent, which is related to the support agent, is also able to update your knowledge base with new insights, answers, and data. And that's really an amazing productivity thing for customer support teams. So they were sort of the three main buckets. So looking at marketing, sales, and customer service. This was the key takeaway for customer service. AI handles simplicity, but people handle subtlety. So again, for customer service roles, AI is great. It's going to take a lot of those kind of really simple questions and time that you've been, spending on that. But it's not going to replace humans, people answering things, dealing with issues, etc. But it's definitely going to help. So they were some of the sort of the key takeaways from the keynote. And then looking at what does the transformation of the customer service look like? Sorry, we've covered that slide already. So it's really going from acceleration to transformation. So before we jump into the product updates, Dharmesh, who was the co-founder of HubSpot, he also was talking about, or his keynote was really focused about agent.ai, which is a new professional network for agents, for AI agents, right? It's kind of like LinkedIn for AI agents, where you can build agents, you can buy agents and use them. They're pre-built, and the agents can actually communicate with each other as well. They've got like 47,000 agents already connected on that particular platform. So he spent a whole keynote talking about that. But you're probably here today wondering, okay, that's great, but how do these updates help me? What can I learn? How can I improve my marketing, sales, and customer service from all of these releases from Inbound? So one of the key things that HubSpot really, kind of like their tagline for Inbound this year, was that HubSpot is doubling down on being easy, fast, and unified. Because the reality is, and I know a lot of you have migrated from other platforms to HubSpot, is that if all of your data is scattered all over the place, like how hard is that to then be able to use that data, or to use like an AI agent to actually crawl and organize that data and give you, actual context and insight? The reality is that it does need to be in a unified, in one place, a single source of truth for AI to sort of work its magic. But it also needs to be easy to use, and that's one of HubSpot's key selling points, and fast. So that was the premise before getting into the product updates and introducing what HubSpot released at Inbound. Before we do that, just wanted to, so this was one of the sort of the pain points that a lot of HubSpot customers have faced, is that, most businesses are using 15 plus apps to manage their customers. You can imagine not just the cost of that, the stress of learning all of that, keeping it up to date. 80% of customers are not getting value from the different apps and software that they're using. And 7 in 10 customers have disconnected data. So maybe it's sitting in a spreadsheet, it's sitting in a different CRM, it's sitting in multiple different places. So that's one of the key points, is how can we unify all that in one place? So I introduce you to Breeze. So this was HubSpot's massive release for inbound this year. So Breeze, they've branded it beautifully. Obviously, when you think about the three keywords, easy, fast, unified, they're really focusing on the easy part. So Breeze is now the umbrella brand for HubSpot that looks after all of the AI that's baked into HubSpot. So there's kind of a couple of key features of that. There's Copilot, which we'll talk about in a minute. There's agents that we've just been kind of flagging, and there's also a bunch of other specific features. So what I'll do, I will, before I get into the detail, I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and wanted to also just, before we get into each of those specific highlights, all of you can access this link. It's hubspot.com/spotlight. This is their new HubSpot's new way to kind of release all of these updates at the same time. It's a really interactive website. It's pretty cool. Lots of videos, as you can see, going through each of the different points. But yeah, you can see like really the two key releases for this year was Breeze, which is HubSpot AI, for lack of a better word, and then Intelligence, which I'm really excited about, which is a direct result of HubSpot acquiring Clearbit. So we'll come to that in a moment. So let's focus on Breeze AI first. So really the way that it works, so the first aspect of Breeze is Copilot. Now, Copilot used to be called ChatSpot. So if you're wondering where ChatSpot has gone, it's been rebranded as Breeze Copilot. And you can still see that on the top right of your HubSpot account. So it's almost like, just think about it as having ChatGPT within HubSpot. But the beauty is it's able to actually look at all of your customer data, lead data, history, contacts, and it's able to recommend, like, to recap your meetings, to recommend next steps with a particular deal, a whole bunch of really cool stuff. So definitely encourage you to check Copilot out. That's live now. Now, in terms of these different agents, so HubSpot has released 4 different agents that we can briefly go through today. The first 2 are not currently live. They're in beta at the moment, and they're sort of in the pipeline. The first one is Social Agent. So you're probably wondering what that's all about. Well, that's looking at how can AI actually maximize sort of content creation. So it isn't just like a generative AI sort of, which HubSpot's been doing for the last 12 months as well, but it's looking at your past performance, your brand voice, your industry, the best times to post content, et cetera, et cetera. So this is something that, again, it's not fully live yet, so we haven't been able to really test it much, but it's going to really, take a lot of that grunt work out of like the social media work that you're doing. The second agent that HubSpot released is the prospecting agent. Now, this is something that we're really excited about. So now HubSpot hasn't really had this ability before to actually build out, potential target accounts or prospects that really meet your criteria. But what it can actually do is not only do the research for you about good prospects, good fit prospects that meet your criteria, but it can actually automate the outreach for them. So think about it like, instead of having to hire a BDR or an SDR to do the research and outreach, the prospecting agent, which again isn't live, so we can't say that we've fully investigated it yet, is able to actually like do a lot of this stuff for you in an automated way. So that's a huge cost saving and productivity increase for HubSpot. So really hoping that we can get our hands on this pretty soon. Because especially for like a B2B business, which a lot of you guys are, having this available to actually do a lot of that research and outreach, thinking for you, Sally, as well, would be really, really helpful for your businesses. So now what can we talk about that actually is live? So the agents that are live, the two of the four are the content agent and the customer agent. So let me take you through the content agent. So look, a lot of it has been kind of loosely available with HubSpot. For example, you're with the new content agent, you're able now to create landing pages using AI. You're able to actually create podcasts, scripts, a whole bunch of stuff using AI. Blog posts have been available now for the last sort of 12 months. So they've just kind of put all of it into a bucket called content agent. I guess the one of the new features here is case studies. So this is pretty cool. We haven't fully demoed this completely, but the way that it works is you kind of give it a dump of data around a particular case study or customer that you're working with, and it's able to actually pull all that together into a case study. So if I just click on launch here, it kind of takes you through like a step-by-step process. Like you put in what's the case study or idea about, what's the target audience, what's the company, and then you're able to add documents and a whole bunch of bits and pieces, and it actually puts together a case study for you. So again, it's just like an assistant. It's a way to really save a lot of time and effort when putting together case studies, which we know for B2B businesses are so important, such a good way to build social proof and confidence. So that's a quick overview of the content agent in HubSpot. So again, a lot of it's been live for the last sort of 9 to 12 months, but the new features are here looking at the case studies. In terms of landing pages, just to quickly show you what that looks like, it's kind of like looking at what's the objective, putting together some content for you, and then launching it. So again, just something to play around with, something to really test. It's just gone live. So yeah, we're going to definitely be testing it here at Content Chemistry. Now, the next agent to show you is the customer agent. Now, you're probably thinking this looks familiar. Well, it is familiar because it was previously called the AI chatbot, which was actually in beta. And the way that it works is it uses your knowledge base or website or blog to automatically answer questions for customers, like support questions. But the way that it works is it's more natural. You can train it quickly, and it's just going to save a lot of time from your customer success or customer support reps in answering a lot of questions where you may have that answer already on one of your knowledge base or website or blog posts. So just to recap, they were the 4 different agents that HubSpot released, all under this Breeze AI. Super cool. I mean, you're probably thinking a couple of, or maybe all of these you might find value with in your business. I know for us, we'll pretty much use all of them, but particularly like the prospecting agent, the content agent for sure, and the social agent as well, is going to save a ton of time. Cool. Well, let's now pivot to the second big announcement, Breeze Intelligence. So we were probably all wondering when HubSpot acquired Clearbit, which was a massive acquisition, we're probably wondering, okay, how's this going to work? Like HubSpot, you had to sort of subscribe separately to Clearbit and to HubSpot, probably wondering, okay, how is this going to work? How is HubSpot going to bring this into their platform? Well, here it is, Breeze Intelligence. So the game changer for this is data enrichment. So imagine Clearbit has got data on every single company and I dare say contact you and I, in the world, basically. So it's got our company, it's got number of employees, location, revenue, what software you're using on your website, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that data now is baked into HubSpot natively, which means that you can actually enrich a lot of your data in HubSpot automatically. So you're probably wondering, well, what does that actually mean? Well, for example, if you've got some company information, but you're lacking some data on that company, maybe their revenue, their software, number of employees, or something else that would be really relevant to you. Or maybe there's a particular lead that you've got, like a contact in HubSpot, and all you've got is their email address. Well, this is going to be the game changer with HubSpot, is that now HubSpot Breeze Intelligence will be able to actually enrich or populate the rest of that data that you didn't have access to before. So think about, you've got an email address for someone, that's all that HubSpot needs. And then it's going to give you their company name, their job title, their industry, their revenue, and a whole bunch of other data that's going to be really relevant to you. So let me show you how that works. If you click into the data enrichment tab here, what it'll do, it'll take you to, this is a new setting in HubSpot. I think it's in this AI one here on the left-hand side. Somewhere here, can't find it now, but it's called data enrichment. And the way that it works is that you actually pay for credits. So it isn't free, it's not part of your current subscription, but the way that it works is you can upgrade. So you've got a couple of different options here. Like, for example, you can automatically enrich new records. So you can turn that on for companies and or contacts. You can allow records to be manually enriched. So if you'd rather control that a little bit more and specifically choose which contacts or companies you'd like to manually enrich, you can do that as well. That might kind of control your budget a little bit. And then the third option is continuously enrich all existing records. So that's like the third option, where it just basically just keeps working. So as soon as HubSpot/Clearbit finds some data about one of your companies or contacts, it'll just automatically bring that in. So you're probably wondering, that sounds great, but what's the cost? So this is the cost here. You can buy the lowest price is you can buy a pack of 100 credits, which is $44 a month. So that would be better. Like if you were just doing maybe more the manual option and you're thinking, you know what, I don't need to enrich more than 100 contacts or companies a month. That's totally, fine and actually pretty cost effective. I think it's a pretty good value point there. But then you can also buy packs of 1,000 credits, including automatic data refresh, $220 a month. And then obviously if you're a massive enterprise that you're wanting to just like constantly update all of your data in HubSpot automatically, that's when you've got the 10,000 credit option as well. So that's the first point, looking at data enrichment. Now, the other really cool point about Breeze Intelligence is buyer intent. So this is really cool. So let me just take you through this. So the way that this works is that you set up, again, it's just like a little wizard that takes you through different steps. You set up a target market. Maybe it's location, it's number of employees, it's industry. But then the intent here, what it does, it will show you which companies are actually, for example, visiting your pricing page. That's going to give you a lot of intent that, okay, this particular company are really down the funnel. They're really checking out our pricing page and we should reach out to them. So the company does need to visit your website. So it's all about driving traffic to your website. But once you've got them on the website, it's using cookies to track that. HubSpot's going to be able to actually give you how many companies are actually meeting your criteria and what's your total market opportunities here as well. I'm really excited by this buyer intent. It's a great way, you can imagine, as like a sales rep, to jump in here every day and have a look at, new target accounts that are visiting your website, showing intent. It's going to be super helpful. So that's the buyer intent. Now, the third and final aspect of Breeze Intelligence is form shortening. So this has been something that some other software have offered in the past. Like we think of Lusha, Apollo, Zoom Info even. But what this does is, great example is, um, if you've got someone that you say, okay, we've captured their email address, and that's, maybe their first name, email address, but that's all we have about the person. Well, form shortening is going to basically check Breeze Intelligence and look at all the other information that HubSpot has got on that person. So as long as we have probably their email address, HubSpot is automatically able to automatically fill their job title, company name, revenue, and other data points that HubSpot has got. So that just really takes that friction out of a landing page or a conversion point on your website. If you're just asking people for their email address, that's super easy. But once you've got that in HubSpot, you'll have a whole bunch of other data points with that. So that's going to be really, really helpful from a B2B sales perspective, especially. And it's going to just remove that friction and almost be like, like on LinkedIn, you've got the lead capture lead forms where it automatically just populates everything. It's going to be exactly the same, but it's coming from HubSpot instead of LinkedIn. So they're the three points for Breeze Intelligence. So the final couple of things I wanted to run through today was looking at, by the way, there is so many product updates. I couldn't go through every single one of them. There's over 200 plus that have been announced at Inbound this week. But even since our last webinar, which was early August, there's just hundreds. So I've just tried to pull out what are the key product updates that we feel are relevant to our clients and are going to be really helpful from a marketing and sales perspective. So I'll just take you through some of the highlights that we thought were really interesting. A lot of these, by the way, guys, you'll need to actually opt into the beta. So just in case you're not sure how to find this in HubSpot, if you go to the top right and you go to product updates here, you'll then see all of the product updates listed in order of date. So yeah, highly recommend going through that and honestly, just join all the betas you can, because it's a great way to just check things out. And often the betas will actually become a live feature in HubSpot within a couple of months. Okay, let's get back to some of the other product updates that were released this week or in the last couple of weeks. So marketing analytics in public beta. So in HubSpot, this was like something that was often buried. There was always this suite of reports called sales analytics, which is awesome. And that's now been moved into the reports feature in HubSpot. So if you click on reporting, you can see it here, sales analytics, but this new one is marketing analytics. So this was a new feature that HubSpot have just released. So it just gives you a lot more kind of reporting and dashboards and things that you can actually use in your marketing dashboards and reports in HubSpot. So looking at channel performance, web traffic, CRM insights, etc. Yeah, really excited about this one. What's the next thing that we're really excited about? Oh my goodness, multi-step forms, okay? It sounds really simple, but we've been waiting for this for years. HubSpot, for some reason, just took forever to release these multi-step forms, even though other tools like Typeform, Outgrow, and other tools have had this for years. HubSpot has finally released multi-step forms, which means that you can actually create a form instead of having like one block of multiple form fields. You can actually create a form like a quiz. So it's like 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, more engaging, less friction, much better for conversion. So yeah, again, we're super excited about this particular form. And we just can't believe it's taken this long, to be honest. But also now with the form shortening with Breeze Intelligence, that also means that we don't need to ask for as much information anymore, because Breeze Intelligence will actually, give us a lot of that data anyway. Now, related to forms is conditional logic in forms as well. So again, really excited about this. And again, Typeform and others have had this for years. But the beauty of this is, sometimes if someone answers a certain question on a form, like I know for us, for example, if they're like, let's say their business is like has no revenue, or they're a startup, they're making less than 1 million in revenue per year, they're probably not going to be a good fit for our services. So in that case, if we were to ask the particular lead, what is your revenue? And if they put in less than 1 million in revenue, we could actually redirect them to a different thank you page to say, thanks so much, probably not a good fit, but here's some really good resources for free that we'd love to share with you. So something like that would be really helpful. I'm just thinking for us as an agency, obviously, if they're over a certain logic, then you can send them to your normal thank you page and go from there. Cool. So that is conditional logic in forms. And yeah, both of these are a real game changer. Thankfully, HubSpot finally released them, but it's going to be really helpful. Now, who gets this? You're probably wondering. Marketing Professional Plus and Content Professional Plus. So yeah, really, really helpful for like landing pages, website forms, everything. Now, the last couple of updates here, this one is the sales workspace. Now, you're probably wondering, this looks familiar. Um, like, how does this relate to the prospecting workspace that was released, a month or so ago? Well, the reality is it's been rebranded sales workspace. So it doesn't just include prospecting related tasks and activities, but it also now includes a whole bunch of other um, scoring. Like this is a really cool point. I really liked this, like the scoring metric here that it gives you. And just has a few extra features, cues. It gives you your AI assistant in here as well. So kind of like a rebrand, but some additional features as well. Awesome. And thanks for the questions in the Q&A. I can see those. I'll come back to those in a second, Damien, but thank you, mate. So the final update here. Now, I thought this was, again, super exciting. One of the points that were released was focused on at Inbound this week was the importance of first-party data. Now, you're probably wondering, what is that? Well, what it means is that you own the data. You have the data in your CRM, HubSpot, for example. So, for example, we know that Google have said they're going to eliminate cookie tracking in the future. It was meant to already happen by now. They keep delaying it. But the reality is cookies will eventually be removed, which means that's going to really impact your conversion tracking for your ads. So HubSpot has already got a thing called Google Enhanced Conversions. They call it LinkedIn, it's called, marketing events in HubSpot. We've already been using that. It's awesome. You can use it for Google Ads and Meta as well. And what it can do is actually, based on a form submission or a life cycle stage, it can actually send conversions back to Google and Facebook directly from HubSpot. So you don't need to worry about any cookie tracking at all. It's first-party data, it's more accurate, and we're actually transitioning all of our clients across to this that have at least marketing professional or above. But the big gap in the market was LinkedIn. So LinkedIn previously and HubSpot didn't have this enhanced conversions between them. But now, as of the 11th of September, there is a private or public beta now between the two, or conversions API. So the way that this works is you're able to push back data into LinkedIn based on the life cycle stage of one of your contacts. So again, it's exactly the same way as Google and Meta are working. I think the only difference is, though, with LinkedIn, we need to check it a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure if it can use a form submission yet to trigger data back to LinkedIn. I think it just uses the life cycle stage of your contact, but that's fine. I mean, like if you set it to be, okay, when someone becomes a lead, or a marketing qualified lead or etc., you can then push that data back to LinkedIn, which means that that data is going to be a lot more accurate. If you're using LinkedIn lead forms, it's probably less of a big deal because you're capturing that data anyway. You're not really reliant on cookies as much per se, but yeah, still something to give that a go. So a couple of really good updates from Inbound. Just to sort of recap, I mean, really, it really revolves around the two big announcements were Breeze, Copilot, which used to be chatbot, and those 4 different agents. So it was social, content, prospecting, and customer agent. And then Breeze Intelligence with the ability to actually data enrich, form shortening, and buyer intent. Really, really helpful and a direct result of their acquisition of Clearbit. So that's pretty much a really quick wrap, guys, of Inbound and all of the different product updates and features. Just having a look at a few questions here in the Q&A as well. Yes, Sally, that's true. Your workspace is called prospecting. So all you need to do, if you're on the previous prospecting model, if you just go into product updates here, which is top right, and then product updates, you should see an option here called Sales Workspace. It might be on page 2. You might need to just scroll through this, or even easier, you could actually just do a quick search. Workspace. There it is. So 9th of September, if you just opt into that beta, it'll automatically opt you into the new Sales Workspace, which has those additional features from the prospecting workspace as well. So thanks, Damien, for some of your questions as well. I think Samuel's answered most of those. Yeah, Operations Hub's going to be the trick for that one, adding the old +61 to phone numbers, which is always a challenge to keep the data clean. The other thing, guys, just finally that HubSpot have released recently as well is some improvements to leads. So you know how leads were released a little while ago now. So leads are like a subset of contacts. Well, now there's actually even more functionality around leads. So you can see here, it's in beta, but it just has a lot more data here than it had before. And there's a lot more features that you're able to do. Like this index page is new, this summary page as well, etc. Yeah, so definitely give that a go, especially for you, Sally. It'd be really helpful for your some of your lead management. So remember that a lead is like typically it would be like a marketing qualified lead that you would enroll as a lead, someone that's actually has the right job title, company, employees, but also has hopefully showed some intent as well. So it might be that they downloaded like a bottom of funnel lead magnet, visited your pricing page or whatever. But remember, you can manually enroll people as leads as well. But it's just a good way to like manage all of your leads in one place, even though they're still contacts in HubSpot, but it's just a way to sort of segment them a little bit more. So as you can see, guys, like if you just go to the left-hand side menu, there's all these new features here. Like I've opted into literally everything here. Oh, by the way, Content Remix is also incredible. That's a recent update as well. I'll demo that maybe on another webinar. But yeah, hopefully that was really helpful, guys, in terms of all of the different updates. I know there's quite a lot to unpack there, but we can really see that for the next 12 months that using these sort of AI agents is going to take AI to the next level, not just generative AI like we've been using, but using them as actual assistants and so forth. So Sally had a question about Content Hub. Content Hub is actually been massively improved. So Content Hub, guys, just to recap, Content Hub used to just be called CMS Hub in HubSpot. And all it really did was host your website, which is amazing. But now Content Hub, what HubSpot have done, they've actually moved landing pages across the Content Hub. These used to be in Marketing Hub. They've moved the blog across to Content Hub, used to be in Marketing Hub. But the new features are podcasts, which can create episode scripts, modules for you. We're in the process of setting this up for our own podcast on HubSpot. Case studies is a new thing, Sally, as well, that you might want to give that a go in Content Hub. That's really cool. Again, I just showed it before, but it's early days. But yeah, I mean, this Remix Content Hub is probably the biggest and the most exciting feature of Content Hub. So let me just quickly show you. So the way that it works is you just need to give HubSpot like a piece of content. So it might be a blog, it might be a website page or something. And then what it does, it literally just creates everything for you. It creates, yeah, so I've got to add some content here before I can show this to you. But it creates like social posts, a marketing email, a landing page. It can just create everything for you. So really, really cool. There's a couple of templates here as well. So again, it just takes that time away, time saving. But yeah, this Remix has been a really cool feature. And just the final thing I wanted to share is the video remix that HubSpot shared at Inbound looks mind-blowing as well, where you can basically give it some content and it creates like literally a video for you that you haven't shot yourself. So there was an example. I think I've got this in the chat. Let me just quickly show you this, guys, because I think this is something that they kind of teased it with us. But I think it could be something super, super helpful. Let me just bring it up now. All right, hopefully you can hear this.
And when you're ready to publish, you can now schedule posts for YouTube and Instagram Reels right in HubSpot. But Andy, what if I don't even have the resources to create video at all? Have no fear. I had a little extra time backstage, so I put together a little something thanks to our new HeyGen integration. Hey, AI Andy, can you help me out?
Hey Andy, I can take it from here. With HubSpot's brand new HeyGen integration, all you need is a single piece of content, like a transcript or blog. HeyGen uses the power of AI to create videos with avatars who act as influencers. All you have to do is sit back, relax, and get studio quality videos with ease.
Now, yeah, there we go. I just want to make it clear, that was not an actual video of me. That was completely AI generated. We are working with some crazy stuff here.
That's it, guys. I just wanted to show you that. But that's basically the video remix that HubSpot demonstrated at Inbound this year. It looks amazing. So lots of stuff to come. Just final question for you, Sally. Yeah. So when it says a public beta, all that means is that it's available to everyone. It doesn't mean that there's any of your data that's being shared at all. It's all completely encrypted, secure. It just means that it's available to everyone. When it says a private beta, it just means that it's only available usually to a small cohort of people. And it's kind of like an application-based process. You have to apply to opt into the private beta, but you may not be accepted. Whereas a public beta accepts everyone that opts into it. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, no issues around that. So thanks for joining, guys. We are right on time, 5 minutes under. Always love an early mark, but hopefully that was beneficial. Yeah, super excited to see all these things roll out. And next month, we'll try to look at the next kind of bunch of product updates that are coming through. But have an awesome rest of the Friday, and we'll catch you on the next webinar in a month's time. See you later. Thanks a lot. Cheers.